This podcast is a member of the Place to Be Nation family. Visit us at placetobenation.com, the only place to be in your pop culture world.
Just a good-looking man, and any barmaid can be a star maid if she dances with all the clowns.
Place to Be Nation Pop Experience. Welcome to today's edition of the movie review of the day. I am Andy Atherton, here with you on a Monday, starting off our very first theme week on this podcast series. That's right. We are going to be doing theme weeks, much like our sister show, the music video of the day. Sorry. I've done almost 1,000 of this podcast. I can't remember their name. So we do theme weeks every other week. We do theme weeks every week here, but they are going to be alternating. So that way we're not doing a theme for both in the same week. So to start us off in our first ever, we are going to go to the gridiron. That's right. This week we are all about football movies. There are so many great football movies out there, and it's apropos because we are in the midst of the NFL playoffs this year. This week, this is the week between the divisional round and the conference championships. We will be finding out shortly, as I am recording, who will be facing the Seahawks. We already know that we have the Patriots and the Broncos battling for the AFC championship, and we'll see which of these other teams. I don't have a dog in the fight. Actually, it's funny is my dog is in the title of this movie, this very first edition, which came out all the way back in 1994. It is Little Giants, and it stars Rick Moranis, Ed O'Neill, Shawna Waldron, Devon Sawyer, a bunch of great kid actors who are no longer kids, obviously, because this was 32 years ago almost it came out. But there are so many. This is a really funny movie. And I love this movie. It's not on cable very often, and I have to check and see if it's streaming. But here's the thing. There are so many snobs versus slobs type movies. So this is the haves versus the have-nots, right? So the plot of the movie basically is the misfits from their own opposing team to an elite Pee Wee football team are coached by the elite's team. So here we go. I read the thing wrong. So it's misfits form their own opposing team to an elite Pee Wee football team coached by the elite team's coach's brother. So this is the story of the O'Shea brothers. So you have Ed O'Neill, Kevin O'Shea, and Rick Moranis, Danny O'Shea. Kevin is the athlete. He goes on to be a high school football star. I guess things didn't work out for him, I guess, in college or what have you. I don't think he ever went pro. And he becomes a business owner, and he owns a successful car dealership. Has a big house, beautiful wife, a couple of beautiful daughters, and then you have his younger brother, Danny, who, he's I don't know if he's a divorcee. He's not a widower, because I believe the story is that originally Danny O'Shea was originally supposed to be a widower. But Rick Moranis, I believe, either his wife was sick or she had just passed away, and I think they changed it because of because of sensitivity issues towards Rick. So the wife leaves, right, and the mom, and he's got this daughter who is Becky O'Shea, better known as the Icebox, who is more like a boy than anything. She's dirty. She dresses like a boy. She acts like a boy, but she's not. She's obviously a girl. So what happens is that they have a Pee Wee football team in Urbana, Ohio, which is a small town, I'm guessing. And Kevin O'Shea is the coach, and it's going to be, I guess, the Cowboys is going to be their team, and they have these tryouts, and we see kids trying out, right? And you see, most of the kids make it, but then you see these typical, not, I want to say losers for lack of a better term, but this happens in everything, like Mighty Ducks, Replacements, unnecessary or necessary roughness. I think the movie is, necessary roughness. It's very typical. You have the out of shape kid. Becky doesn't make team because she's a girl. The other kid, Tad, doesn't make it just because he's just doesn't have the skill set. And then we have Hot Hands Heenan, who in a lot of these football movies, you have a wide receiver that can't catch, which happens in Necessary Roughness as well. Very funny scene in the end with him. So they audition, they all try out for the team and they don't make it. And Danny's kind of been pushed around by Kevin to a degree for their lives. And so Danny decides to start his own team, and then in order to play, the kids just want to play, right? That's what it is. It comes down to give every kid a chance. Every kid, it's hard, believe me, trust me. As somebody who played sports as a kid and was a parent, my kids really didn't get into it. My son, it just wasn't for him. He liked sports. It just, playing organized sports was never a thing that worked for him. But, you always had those kids that just wanted to play, be part of the team. And that's what a lot of these kids are. And it doesn't matter whether they start, they want to be included. They don't want to be left out. And they have, there's another character in it, I believe, I'm trying to remember the guy, the kid's name. He's he's like a real nerd, and he doesn't play. He comes up with the plays. Right? He loves the strategy part. So they they go to form another team, and he says he can't have two teams. So then they have a playoff. So there's a lot of montages, and we get building of the teams here. And then a new kid comes to town, and he's this large monster basically, and he's got a father who's an asshole, like Brian Haley, who's a very funny comedian. Portrays a win at all cost sports parent, right? And we have a lot of funny scenes with them training, and they recruit kids, just any kid. They need any kid to play. There's one kid, Jake, is really funny. He always says he can't see with this thing on because he's tiny and he's got glasses, and they wrap him up in stuff in all this padding so he doesn't get hurt. And, they try. I mean, they recruit one kid who just likes to kick kickballs, and he becomes the team's kicker. And it's fun, it's probably, one of my favorite recruitments. And you see the battle between the brothers who do love each other in the end. Kevin kind of gets his comeuppance towards it. And they have the football. Then we end up having the game, and the great Harry Shearer plays the football announcer, and we get some cameo appearances by John Madden, the legendary coach, plus I believe Emmett Smith, Steve. I'm trying to remember now all the people in this movie. Let me call up the cast list here. But it was sorry, I know this is great radio for y'all. So it was Steve Entman, Bruce Smith, and Tim Brown, also with the other NFL players. And they came to give pep talks, and they talked to the kids and all that stuff, and they had some fun plays. And as we go through, the kids got to put their own names on it. So Rudy, who farts a lot, he became the gas man. And Rad Tad, who probably has some of the best lines in the whole movie. When they see their uniforms, he's like death shrouds. Or when they go out to play the Cowboys, they do Giants, and we hear his little voice go, "Help us, God." And Devon Sawyer plays kind of the best player out there, who the Cowboys try to get, and they don't. He decides to play with the other kids, and there's a little romance going on between him and Becky, who becomes a cheerleader. And then as she sees Junior, who is actually the son of Danny's childhood crush, Patty. As we see a little in the beginning of the movie, they show a flashback scene, and you could see kind of the friendship or whatever between them. And anyway, so once Junior gets hit with a late hit by Spike, who's the dirty player, Becky goes back to the locker room and puts pads on, and she joins the little Giants. And it's funny is another great line in the movie is she comes out and Brian Haley's character is like, what's that cheerleader doing out there? And Kevin O'Shea is like, that's no cheerleader, that's my niece Becky. And she's pissed. And the Icebox goes on to kind of take over the game. And finally, I think it's Murphy or I forgot the kid's name. But he comes up, he has this play that he's been wanting to run called the Annexation of Puerto Rico. And it's a kind of a trick play. And Danny kind of goes also earlier than that, though. Danny remembers, and Patty helps him too, remembering Kevin's plays from high school. So the Giants hold their own in the second half, and they actually have a chance to win. And the last play is a trick play where they are led to believe that Becky has the ball, but actually Rudy, the gas man, has it, who laterals it to, I think he actually drops it. Tad picks it up. And Tad's about to get hit. I think Junior has it for a minute, and then it ends up going to Jake, the little guy. And he's like, I'm going to score a touchdown. I'm going to score a touchdown. And he runs in. He does score a touchdown, but he also runs into the goalpost in a very funny scene. So that's kind of the Reader's Digest version of Little Giants. It's a fun movie. Look, you don't have to be a football fan to enjoy the movie. It's really, when you the haves versus the have-nots, and look, there are a lot of tropes in it. Like I said, the receiver who can't catch, the kids who's afraid of his own shadow, kind of like in the Mighty Ducks. And when Goldberg learned that, he had padding on and the puck actually didn't hurt when they hit him. So it's very typical. And you look at the grown-up movies like Replacements and Necessary Roughness, very similarities there. But this is just such a good movie, really well written, and the characters are well thought out. They all mold together, and it feels like a genuine Pee Wee football team. And it actually has a bit of a happy ending in the end, where Kevin and Danny, make peace, and there's actually a water tower that says calls Urbania. Is a water tower or a billboard that says home of the great Kevin O'Shea. And because Danny lets Kevin off of a bet they made, he in exchange he said he wants to change, and it says home of the O'Shea brothers, which is a really nice touch at the end. And Rick Moranis, so believable, he's so likable in this movie too, which is great. And Ed O'Neill, this is the first thing I had seen him outside of Fort Fairlane. This is the first thing I really saw him in after Married with Children. It's a very different character. But Ed O'Neill's a great actor, and he can pull anything off that he tries. So, all right. So I would highly recommend this movie if you haven't seen it. If you listened so far, I've spoiled it, but that's on you. You chose to listen. And if you have seen it before, go watch it again, because I think I'm going to try to watch it again very soon. All right. So I hope you guys enjoy this, our first theme week, and we got 4 more football movie reviews coming at you, and then we'll be back to business as usual next week. So, all right, have a great week. We'll see you later.